The question has been floating around for a while, whether or not the frontman cheated in Mingle from Squid Game. After all, we never see where he went during the second round. He could have been telling the truth about finding a room with other players, or maybe he didn't go in a room at all, like some people have been theorizing. But in this video, we'll do a full breakdown of the game and discuss all of the possibilities. First, looking at the beginning of the game, there were 255 players to start with, and after they called out 10 players, we saw the frontman make it into a room with Gion and the rest of the group. After this round, only 220 remained, meaning that 35 players were eliminated. But at the start of the second round, when 4 players were called out, the frontman left Gion's group, and we never got to see where he went. In every other round, the frontman sticks with Gion's group, and we never actually see him cheating, unless you count him unaliving player 343 in the last round to free up room for himself in Jungbei as cheating. However, there was no rule that you weren't allowed to eliminate other players. But going back to the start of the second round, after the round finished, 168 players lived on from the original 220 at the start of the round. So then, how did 52 players get eliminated? Well, first off, later in the game, it is revealed that there are only 50 rooms in the entire arena. So assuming that all 220 players split up into groups of 4, the result would be 55 even teams. But we just said that there are only 50 rooms, so 5 groups or 20 people will automatically be eliminated. But the round ended with a total of 168 players, meaning that an additional 32 players, or 8 potential groups, were eliminated. And that's not surprising given the chaotic environment and the extremely limited time to form groups. A lot of players were not able to focus and were unable to handle the pressure. Anyways, let's get back to the frontman. If he had hidden in his own room, stayed outside, or maybe hid with the guards like some people suggest, the player total after the round would have to be 169. But the players would have looked at that number and realized something was up. You see, in order for a group to pass and make it to the next round, their room has to have the exact number of required players or else that room is eliminated. We see evidence of this when the room with only 3 players is spotted and gunned down. This means the total of 168 is made from 42 groups of 4, meaning it would be impossible for the player count to be 169 in that situation, since you cannot have all groups of 4 that add up to 169. So does this mean that the frontman didn't cheat? The numbers don't lie, but what if they do? What if the frontman didn't find a room, but the workers overseeing the game just reduced the number to 168 to not seem suspicious? But then, how would they explain the extra player? After the third round, there were 141 remaining players, meaning that the total either reduced from 168 to 141, or from 169 to 141. It would not make a difference to the players if 28 players were eliminated versus 27. And after all, the frontman is the leader of the games, so it would be logical to give himself backup plans to not get unalived, of course, but also to stay in the game and keep an eye on Gi-yun, which is why he joined the games in the first place. I tried looking for any evidence that the player count was 169, so I first tried to listen to the PA system of the list of eliminated players to count the 50 or so players that were no longer in the game, but for some reason, they forgot to do it this round. I then tried to look for the floor in the control room with all the players' faces, and for a split second, before the eliminated players from the third round were removed, you can see all of the players who survived round 2. Now, I don't know if this is a visual error or somehow I'm wrong, but I've counted this screen multiple times, and I keep counting 171 faces. If this is some sort of visual error, it cannot confirm or deny our theory of the frontman being the 169th player. So then, I started looking for a shot of all the players in one frame, and I was able to find this overhead angle of all the players before the third round that actually had 168 players. This is proof that the frontman did not in fact cheat in Mingle, as 168 players were still in the game after the second round, and there couldn't have possibly been 171 players or 169 players, as only groups of 4 moved on, meaning that he was telling the truth and actually did find a room with 3 other players. But still, even if he wanted to cheat, wouldn't it look weird to the other players that when they're all leaving their rooms in groups, they see the frontman coming back into the arena alone, out from his own room or from the inside of the guard's room? What about the other games? Well, of course he cheated in red light, green light, since he didn't even play. As for the 6-legged race, I'd say he didn't really cheat. His group just went last as a backup plan, so just in case they didn't finish in time, they would be the last ones in the game room and the guards would eliminate everyone but the frontman. But overall, the frontman played pretty fair. Well, I guess that settles it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. Till next time.